I just got back from the Avs game, obviously. You can see I did decide to wear my Mackinnon jersey, so I was a very brave little soldier. I did actually see some people when I was walking to the game wearing their Avs gear. And then in there was a decent amount of people there. So many, in fact, that when they did the national anthem, and I don't know if I talked about this before, but I like to listen out for how different cities sing the national anthem. And in Denver, they do really loud, and our flag was still there. Yeah, they don't do that here. They don't seem to have a particular line or keyword that they do a thing to, but there was quite a loud part during the national anthem, because there was quite a reasonable number of Avs fans at the game today. So yeah, anyway, I'm back at my room and I'm enjoying a golden, the lucky Irish one, the exceptionally smooth taste of Minnesota. I didn't have a beer at the game, I just thought I'd have one when I got back to the hotel. Anyway, so the game was very good. As you can see here, I am sitting behind the goals this time in about row 12. When I was looking for my tickets, this was like the best ticket I could get, but I think that's probably because the Avs are pretty popular, because they've been successful, and also people want to see them. Even if you don't go for them, you want to see the teams. You want to see teams that are playing well, right? Because you want to see how your team stacks up against them. That's how I feel when I go to the football. I'm like, if we're playing an easy beat, sometimes I think, oh, boring. But if you're playing one of the good teams, you're like, well, let's see where we really sit. Anyway, so go to the game. Like I said, take my seat. It is in the end where the Avs are attacking twice. And luckily at this game, Gus was the Wild goalie, so not Flower. So I could cheer for Mackinnon, hoping that Mackinnon would get a goal without any guilt, because he wasn't going to be scoring on Flower. So that was very good. It was good for me. And again, because I'm behind the goals, I get to see if Mackinnon gets on a run. I get to see him do that crossover and just power down the centre. Now, if you think it's just me that's like swooning over him, because, you know, sometimes I do that. I get a thing and then I'm like, this person's the best at everything that ever was. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. But the people behind me were talking about him too. They were Wild supporters. And they were like, he's really good. He's really fast. And like, when he just takes these one or two steps and then he's off. And they're like, because, you know, everyone is fast, but he's really fast. And then the other guy was like, yeah, he is. And then a little bit later, they were like, and he's big. And he's like, yeah, he is big. And I was like, he is big. And then a little bit later, he did something, and the other guy this time was like, did you see that? He's like, yeah. He's like, holy shit. And I was like, I know exactly right. Holy shit. And then when he got it, he scored down our end, and it was a very nice goal. And he's like, did you see that? He's like, just a little snipe, just pew, straight in. Anyway, so it's not just me, just, you know, in a hyperfixation. It's real. It's other people think it too. He is one of the favourites to win the Hart. I think at the moment he might be the actual favourite. I think he's just slightly ahead of Kucherov, which, hey, by the way, Kucher Mackinnon, that's not a loss for me. Either way is a win. Anyway, it was a pretty convincing win by the Avs. I don't think that the Wild were really going to come back into it. At some point it looked like they were, because I think they did end up scoring 2 goals. But then it was just, the Avs just got away from them. They did, actually, there was a point where the Avs gave them the opportunity for a 5-on-3 power play, which is not good. And by the time they got to the final, I think there was about 55 seconds left on the PK, and that's when the Wild scored. So, you know, what are you going to do? I mean, 5-on-3, that's got to be hard to defend, right? 5-on-4 is hard to defend. 5-on-3 is ridiculous.
Minor penalty. Colorado 49 save Gerard. 2 minutes for tripping at 9:05. Gerard of the Avalanche tripping minor at 9:05. It's an Xcel Energy power play.
it was a good game, but it was getting a bit dicey in the third period because there was one guy, he was a bit mouthy, but he wasn't really, he wasn't swearing, or he didn't seem to be abusive. He was just like, he was just a little bit obnoxious, I guess. But to be fair, I've got a pretty high tolerance for dickhead, so maybe it was worse than what it was. Anyway, so people were complaining, and he ended up getting kicked out. And then which I thought was a bit rich. I think, like, you could have just told him, hey, you just need to simmer down. It's like, there's only 10 minutes of the game left. Just, like, enjoy yourself, but just relax a bit. Anyway, then it seemed like two other people were going to have a fight about this situation because they didn't agree with him getting thrown out. And then so it just stops, everything stops, and then the guy stands up just out of nowhere and he just abuses the people again. But he just from out of nowhere, and then he starts to abuse him back. And then this other Colorado fan turns around and tells the other guy, shut the fuck up. And then apologises to the other one and is like, "Oi, I'm sorry about this." And then another guy stands up, he's like, "I just love you all." And then another guy stands up, he's like, "I love everyone too." But it was funny because it diffused a situation that was not heading in the right direction. But hey, look, like I said, I've got a pretty high tolerance for dickhead, and I think he was a little bit obnoxious, but I didn't think it was that over the top. He wasn't standing up in his seat. He wasn't like turning around and abusing people. I mean, when he got kicked out, he did start giving people the finger. So, but to be fair, he was on the way out at this stage. Anyway, in the first intermission, I didn't know this. I just stumbled across it by accident. There is like some Snoopy some sculptures around the ground. I didn't know this. I actually didn't know that there was any Peanut stuff around till I stumbled across some earlier in the day, not in the arena, but just somewhere else. And then I was like, oh, I should get a photo with this Snoopy. Anyway, I got to take a selfie with it. And this dude sees me doing it and he yells. He's like, no. And I was like, Jesus, like, please, can I? Anyway, he's like, no, because he was going to do it for me. Anyway, he takes a photo. And I would show it to you, even though it's not a great photo. But it was funny because he was just being nice. But it's funny because it's not a great photo. And look, it's obviously it's on me too. It's my eyes that are closed and I am awkward. I was standing on the other side of the sculpture and he's like, no, move to this side. And then I did, and anyway, then I'm awkward. I don't know what to do with my hands. So anyway, afterwards, I didn't look at it when he gave my phone back to me because I thought that was rude to be like, to decide whether I liked it or not. And then I went back after the game and took a photo, just took a selfie by myself. But there's a Lucy in the ground somewhere too, but I couldn't find her. I went for a bit of a walk after the game, but I couldn't find her. And then there was quite a congested amount of people in that spot, so I don't know where she was, and I didn't get to see her. But I did get to see a couple of goals at our end, actually.
Minor penalty, Minnesota. Number 97, Kirill Kaprizov was tripping at 12:20.
Did get to see some power plays or penalty kills as well because, you know, obviously you can see Daniel, and it's interesting to see him up close, you know, to see how, because you decide where you know when you watch TV and if they follow the puck or the ball or whatever game you're watching. As the camera decides, well, not the camera, the producer, who decides what you're looking at each time. But obviously when you're at a game live, you get to decide who and what you look at. I was watching in some of the Av power plays, Mackinnon wasn't taking the face off because obviously they have a set play when there's 5-on-4 in them. You know what I mean? So you just, because you're in control of where your head looks and where your eyes look. It's interesting to see it live because you get you get a holistic view of the play and not just the singular view as it's fed to you. And that's interesting. I think it also helps you get a better understanding of the game too, because you get to see better like what the positioning is and how people position themselves and where they position themselves. And that's helpful in understanding the game because it helps you understand movement and strategy and intention. So anyway, yeah, it was a really good game. And even though I said before the game, I'm not going to go and get any more pucks. I've got enough. It's enough, Leah, enough. When I went up at that first intermission, I was like, oh, there's a little stall here. Maybe I'll check if they've got a puck. It's like, absolutely do not. You know, you've barely got, there's too much stuff jammed in your bag already. Absolutely do not need to look for more treats. The thing is, though, the other thing is that I only bought one cap with me. I think I said this before. And the wild caps, some of them are really so nice. And when I saw them on the first day, I was too busy thinking about my jersey, so I didn't get one. And then I thought about it today and I was like, nah, don't do it. And then in one of the stands, it's just all hats and beanies. And I was like, oh, maybe you could have a look at. No, cannot, because I'm pretty sure that when I go to Chicago, I'm going to get a Bulls cap. I know I am. And if I can get one from a Lids and get it embroidered too, I'm definitely going to do that. So I'm not buying another cap here because that's enough now. So who was in goal today? Not George. Who was in goal today? So it wasn't Georgiev in goal today for the Avs. It was Annunen. I don't know if I said that right, Annunen. Anyway, he was in goal today. He did a pretty good job, actually. The Wild seem to have a lot of shots on goal. I reckon they had more than the Avs. Anyway, it's a fun environment anyway. Like the Wild put on a good show. The DJ is really good. Like very, very good, like seamless in between songs, and puts on, like, plays really, look, it's probably subjective if you like a particular song, which I liked his particular song, so it probably is a little bit subjective, but no, I thought he was really, really good. Also, I did enjoy the organ player. Or organist, is that what they're called? Probably not. Organ man, which is like, again, if you watched last year, you will know it's funny that when we would watch a game on TV and the organ would be, oh, my mum would get really angry. She hated it, and I didn't mind it. It wasn't my favourite, but I didn't care for it, to be honest. But live, it's different when it's live. It's heaps more enjoyable. Anyway, he was pretty good. Oh, so that is the last Mackinnon game. We're going to see everyone. The last of the big strong Maritimer we're going to see, which is disappointing, but also a 1,000,000% cannot complain, because I saw him 3 times, and about 2 weeks ago I'd seen him no times, so that's pretty good. Also, I got to see, obviously, Rantanen playing as well. The Finnish Moose, that's what we call him because his nickname is also Moose. But because I was familiar with Foligno from the Wild first, and his nickname is Moose. He's Moose. And so to distinguish between the two of them, we call Rantanen the Finnish Moose, obviously because he's Finnish, and also a moose. But he got an empty netter today too, which was pretty good. And then, then it was probably about 2 minutes to go when he got that goal. And the crowd just went like this. And I'm not bagging the Wild here because it's not a Wild thing. We saw it at every game that we went to when it seemed like it was heading a particular way, and there was maybe within the last 5 minutes people were just leaving. But once he scored that goal, that empty netter, and they just streamed out. It was like, see you later. Well, might as well go get to the car early because, well, this is done. Also, I mean, because realistically, they probably suspect that they won't get 2 goals in a minute and a half, or 3 goals. Yeah, so 3 goals because it was 5-2 at that stage. So if they were up against it, getting 2 in the last 2 minutes and getting 3 in the last minute and a half was, a long shot.
Minnesota Wild, thank you for attending tonight's game. Remind you to buckle up and drive safely. We want you back this Saturday afternoon, April 6th, 3 p.m. as your Minnesota Wild host the Winnipeg Jets. Thank you for attending tonight's game. And good night.
Actually, you knew when I was watching because they show the scores of the game, other games that they're getting played at the same time around the ground. So you could see that Boston beat the Canes 3-1, and also the Penguins won. They beat the Capitals. So in one of those earlier videos, I talk about how the Penguins are, really they're pushing for a playoff spot, but they're up against it anyway. They're back in it because they've just been starting to get back in it, but. Because there was only really a few points between these 4 teams, that's still a chance. And then they're going to be playing some of those teams that are also a chance to make it. If they beat them, they take the opportunity away from those teams to score points. They get the points instead, and they might jump ahead. So anyway, it was looking tough at one point, but it looks like Crosby is obviously not going down without a fight. I think a lot of people talked about how last year missing the playoffs, he took it very personally, so he was like, we're doing it. Also, I nearly forgot about this. I saw a little kid today with a certificate, like a first game certificate. I looked for one at that first Wild game. I thought surely they'll do it near the lodge or whatever. Anyway, no, I can't find it. Anyway, don't see it. I think, or maybe they just don't do it. Anyway, see a little kid with one today. So, I missed out on this certificate again. And I know this is a piece of paper, and I know that it's really designed for children, but also I don't care. I want one anyway. I'm going to find one at the Blackhawks. I'm going to look up online beforehand, see if they have one. And if they have one, where exactly they have one, and I'm getting one. For sure. Hey, you know what? If they do it at the Bulls game, I'll get one there too. I'll get one anywhere. Alright, so that's my new plan. We've got one more hockey game to go. I haven't bought my ticket to it yet, but I probably should do that in the next day or 2. It's going to be back in Chicago, and it is going to be the Blackhawks versus the Wild. So I'll probably wear my flower jersey to that one. But I did find this out actually when I was looking at tickets the other day, just when I got the Senators ticket. I was like, at United, I think that's the arena in Chicago, you can buy single seats and leave a single seat behind. So it's not necessarily a Ticketmaster initiative. It must be either the team or the arena that set those protocols for ticket sales. Because if there's 2 tickets in Chicago, you can buy one and leave one. It will allow you to do that. So anyway, I'm not going to apologise for bagging Ticketmaster because it's still they still deserve to be bagged over other things, so I'm not going to apologise. Anyway, so this is it from... This is the last you're going to be seeing of this beautiful jersey. Anyway, well, on this tour, obviously, if you would like to watch the Avs play a game, you can see this jersey many more times. But this is the last you'll be seeing it in this run. All right. Anyway, so that was game 4 of the hockey and game 5 overall. All right. I'll speak to you soon. Love you. Miss you. Bye.